everyone, this is Sharon with Entelechy Visions, and this is an energy update for the week of October 5th through October 11th. So as we enter this new month and we get deeper into turning this chapter, turning the page on this month, we are entering a new beginning marked by the 1 month. The 10 month of the year narrows down to being one, which is all about that new beginning. And this was marked by the fiery full moon that happened right at the start of the beginning of the month on the 1st. And this really propelled quite a bit of a purge and a release. So you may have felt quite a bit surrounding that moon, and a lot of different events were also occurring out in the world surrounding that full moon as well. So we may be feeling a sense of an energetic shift as this new month turns over, because this year has really asked us to kind of chip away at the block on our goals and our visions, that nothing has truly been easy. And aside from everything that has been occurring out in the world and all that we've had to adjust and adapt to and let go and move through on many, many challenging levels and layers, we've also had our own personal challenges. We have had areas in our life that have really tested us and asked us to grow in new ways. Because the energy that is moving throughout this entire year is widespread. It's not just a collective issue that's occurring, it's happening on a personal and individual level as well. So this transformative alchemical year is shaping and evolving certain areas of our life that may be testing us in many different ways. And so we have maybe kept our visions and our goals in mind, but the quality of this year has kind of kept us from really going full throttle on everything or anything for that matter. That each step that we take feels like taking that 10 steps back, or it feels like we are putting in an enormous amount of effort just to make a little bit of headway. Well, this month is a little bit of a reprieve from that kind of quality, where we will start to feel more of that harvest from all of the efforts that we've put in, from everything that we have contributed so far to this month, of all the hoops that we really needed to jump through just to make a little bit of effort or movement, will now finally start to kind of show up in a way that feels more clear and feels much more freeing in that kind of way. So I wanted to start off the update in that way because we do have a little bit of a bumpy ride with this month. So in a positive note, we do have that element of all of our efforts are going to be rewarded. However, October will have us kind of in an up and down flow of energy, and that our lives will reflect this quality. So with this, it is asking us for greater perseverance and resilience, to be resilient and flexible with the changes of this month and these times. And I know that you may be feeling quite weary and quite exhausted and wondering how to really cultivate that inner strength, where it may feel as though there is none left to really pull out from within. Having certain coping tools that get stronger over the year, such as a sense of flexibility, of accepting the changes, of remaining open to additional changes, of embracing the quality of the emotions that are coming up for you, of not resisting them, of tending to your self-care and really taking the time that you need, and also being gentle and compassionate with the levels of different reactions that you may have gone throughout this year. And as we enter the second week of this month, we get closer to Mercury going retrograde this month. And it is adding another layer onto the current Mars retrograde that has already asked us to slow down for the last several months. So Mercury will ask us to slow down a little bit more. So it may feel like things really kind of take a standstill, that it's almost as though time kind of stops in the second half of the month. That movement may feel a little bit like you are walking in concrete. And I share this here so as to prepare and just to know the kind of energetic weather that will be present for the second half of the month, and why things may feel as though it's a little bit trickier to move forward, to get things done, and to maybe have some miscommunications or issues on that level. So just know that that element will be part of things come around the 13th and 14th. So that is another quality that we will be facing with this month ahead. So with that, it is also inviting a sense of cultivation, even though there is that slowing down and there's that sense of things kind of stopping or time standing still. It's inviting more of that inward movement. It's inviting us to pause before expansion, to create from that space, to maybe tend to a passion, to maybe reignite your passion. So that incubating kind of energy will be very present in the second half of the month. We can use that to our benefits to dive into creativity, to tend to our inner world. And we will be still in the season of balance. So it's also another way to really dive further into finding that balance for yourself, for your lives, and for the next couple months ahead. Because this may be a very rocky month ahead, finding that balance will be even more key at this time. So with this week ahead, a huge part of your old self has truly shed, and a lot of this was marked even further by that full moon that began this month. And it is inviting us to maybe lessen the tension of something that you've been grappling with since early last year, even. Something that maybe you were focused upon, something that maybe challenged you from that point onward, that your focus may have changed over this year. And the events of this year have really changed you. So this period of these multiple layers of these retrogrades coming up is asking you what has changed, especially within the areas of your life that you've been grappling with or trying to make some headway toward. Really asking yourself, is this still what you want to be pushing forward with? Is this still what you want to be involved with? And to be really honest with yourself about how you've changed and what you're really interested in now, or what you're passionate or resonant with now. Because with any great challenge and any time we are tested to the utmost degree, that things really feel as though they have just not worked in maybe one or many areas of your life, that it's really shining you, it's shaping you, it's strengthening you to grow. And in that growth process, you have been morphed, you have evolved into something else. So with that being said, there's something even more magnificent that you are becoming now, that you are changing into a completely different person from the tests of your own personal challenges in your life and the tests of this year. And when we brave a storm, as this year has been quite a storm, you could say, that we are holding on our strength, our inner strength, as our own inner personal power. And regardless of any external circumstances that may be presenting themselves, we can hold true to that inner strength. And the way that we can do that is through our self care and finding that balance between the external stimuli and also our internal connection. And as the bumps of this month pan out, remembering to return to that inner connection. And even if you're really over it and maybe you're burnout from going inward and not wanting to do that deep dive anymore, know that that's exactly where you're going to find your strength. Know that that's exactly the space to tap into, the space that you've been strengthening over the course of this entire year and even last year as things had been rather testing in one or more areas. So when we don't have to necessarily have to get everything done in our lives, or we don't have to have our lives look perfect in any sense. It's more about being aware of your needs in an accelerated time while also going about your daily life in a very trying atmosphere. So, being very gentle and compassionate with yourself in finding this balance, in finding that time to connect with yourself, but also tending to what you need to do in the outer world as well. Because it's as though all of that has added a little bit more challenge of just trying to go about your day and doing your daily tasks. It feels a little bit extra, maybe difficult on some days when you're riding the storms of your own emotions through this year and the waves of these times and the changes that are occurring. And when we have added stressors put upon us, and they may increase as the month pans out, but when we keep in mind this added influence that's occurring on our body and on our emotions, then we can understand the need to really stick to that self-care, to really stick to that balance point so that we don't get swept up in everything, so that we don't truly lose ourselves within the changes or within maybe someone else's agenda or the qualities and tests of these times. So it can be easy to do, and especially as you're out in the world and you're engaging, and we move further into this month with all of the kind of riling and bubbling up of the political atmosphere, of trying not to get swept up in other people's opinions, their agendas or dramas, and to stay in your own lane and to take care of you first and foremost, to really come back to yourself, your own tending, and what you need. So next month we have eclipse season beginning, and eclipses always bring about a lot of movement and at times swift changes. So this retrograde that will be approaching, Mercury on top of Mars retrograde, will be a gift to really allow us to cultivate and create before eclipse season begins, and that will be marked in November and December of this year. So the rest of this year past this month will be eclipses. So use this time to really find that sense of strength, rootedness, to find your center within the storm, and to really tend to that balance that you may need at this time. So I would like to share with you the channeled message for this week as an element of hope and inspiration in these times, and to know that you are a light, that if you're drawn to this kind of content, that you are here to share that light. You're here to be that strength within the chaos, within the scattering energy of these times. And if you're having a tough time on certain days to be that light for others, then give it to yourself. Really use that time to Be your own greatest ally within the challenges and transformative times. The cycles of life, the extreme challenges, the subtle annoyances, the joys, the thrills, and the spaces where nothing seems to be happening is all part of the cycle of transformation of your lives and of this year. When we can view experiences in relation to patterns and how nothing stays stagnant but is constantly moving, this reflects on time itself, moving in cycles and shifting energy within the patterns of your experiences. Trust that all is passing. It is temporary in nature, shaping your infinite self to refinement. Surrender to trust in Source and know that each cog in the gear of your own personal alchemy is moving you along toward exactly where you need to be and who you are to become. So I leave you with that message for the week. Hope that it brings you a sense of elevation and to continue to stay strong, to persevere, and find that flexibility for these changing times. If you need additional support, you can learn about my healing services at angeleckivisions.com. I invite you to like and subscribe to this channel if you are enjoying it to help to support the channel. I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead and month of October. Thank you for listening.